Hello everyone! Oh, wait, oh fuck, wait! Sorry about that. I forgot to close the curtains. You can never know when they are watching, listening. I used to laugh at people who believed silly conspiracy theories, Area 51 hiding aliens, the moon landing being fake, the earth being flat. But maybe they're not completely wrong. I don't have evidence for any of that, but I did stumble onto something even weirder. Something that blows all of those out of the water. Who knows what else can be true? I'm talking about the final piece of a puzzle that has been quietly forming in the back of my mind without me even noticing. And it is it's a post from Wowhead. Okay, enough of that. But seriously now, I just saw this post from Wowhead that argues that maybe the WoW token might actually be a good idea. Good for the game when it comes to the TBC anniversary realms. Maybe the most hated thing to ever be added to World of Warcraft, the hatred for it being one of the very few things that could bring together classic and retail players alike, is presented as a positive idea for one of the classic versions of the game. Not only that, but if you go down and you read the comments on the article, you can barely find any negative messages. Everyone is just happy, supportive, super cool. The idea is great. To me, all of this is extremely weird. The insane backfire that you would expect to see from such a take would probably scare anyone stupid enough to think this kind of thoughts, and they would never write this kind of article. And yet, the article exists, and the backfire is not even there. On the contrary, people seem to love the idea. So something weird is happening and I cannot not see it anymore. Let me tell you a bit about my experience being a World of Warcraft content creator for a second. So for the past 7 to 8 months, something like that, I have increased the attention I pay to World of Warcraft news and World of Warcraft content creators massively. I just want to be in the loop at all times, of course. And this is the thing I start with, because it's going to be the most vague part of the video. And that is because I do not want to name anyone, and I do not want to accuse anyone of anything. This is, at the end of the day, just me speculating. I have no hard proof for anything. I just have a very weird feeling. Because what I ended up realizing these past few months, what I did not realize at all before that, since I did not really follow what a lot of these channels were doing, is a weird positivity towards the game when it comes to retail. And please, believe me when I say, I am not saying this as a retail hater or anything like that. We will talk about classic as well, a bit later in the video. But when it comes to retail content creators, like people focusing mainly if not entirely on retail, it's weird how absolutely everyone, and I mean everyone, is just positive about the game all the time. This was not the case in the past, when retail was much more popular and there were so many other content creators that now do not make content about World of Warcraft anymore. Think Legion and BFA, for example, back in those days. The community felt much more natural. People were happy about some things and unhappy about others. But right now, I don't know, man, everybody is always positive. And it's weird. Take me, for example. I am a true classic Andy, but you can find a lot of negative shit I say about classic on this channel, even though I think it's overall an incredible game. It's just not flawless, you know, and when you talk so much about something, it's basically impossible to not stumble upon the negative stuff in your discourse at some fucking point. And yet I follow many content creators for retail very closely, and I never see anything like that. Or it's extremely rare. Quick example, in Midnight, the Amani Trolls story is pretty bad, objectively. And that is for many reasons, but the biggest one I like to mention is that Zul'Jara, this troll that has to earn the favor of the Loa by passing all kinds of trials, does nothing but gives us quests for the most part. We do a lot more than her for the trials, for her trials, most of the work actually. And in the end, she gets the blessings of the Loa. Well, either the Loa are very stupid or they just don't give a fuck. On top of that, the story is full, I mean full of objective contradictions and logical plot holes. Not just here, but all over the expansion. This is not an opinionated take. Believe me, it's just stuff that does not make sense at all. Pure and simple. And yet, somehow, all these big people talking about retail all the time never mention it. I mean, come on, how is that even possible? Not one person being like, I really think us doing all the work for Zul'Jara and her somehow being considered the one that passes the trials is a bit sassy-wassy, a bit stinky, or any other real complaint. But somehow, they always have a small thing that nobody really cares about. Nobody. But they end up disliking it a lot. And they talk about it a lot. And they really go hard on it. Just enough so no one can say they are not impartial or that they are dishonest. Because hey, look here, I did critique the game here. That fucking rock on that random hill in one of the new zones. I hate that rock. I cannot stand it. I swallow my own cum and my own puke every time I see it. And I cry rivers of blood. That's how much I hate it. The very few creators that are still critical of the game at times also share two characteristics, most of the time. First of all, they are some of the oldest ones left, and they have always been honest and called Blizzard out when they messed up the game. And the second thing, they are never 100% World of Warcraft content creators anymore. They have branched out quite a bit. Most of them are like this, so they are not dependent on the game or Blizzard anymore. And you could say, well, the explanation for this is that either the always positive creators really like the game a lot, or they force themselves to be positive at all times on their own because they want World of Warcraft to thrive, because that is their income. They want the game to be popular. And I think both arguments are wrong. First of all, as I said, the game has some truly objective problems. Awful problems when it comes to the lore. It's just impossible to naturally have no one mention them ever. And second of all, I think being negative some of the time would actually be good for business. Like, not be the biggest hater of all time, but be negative sometimes, at least a little bit. Negativity creates more views. Everybody knows it, and I can now confirm it too, since I have started making videos myself. Not saying I do it on purpose, especially when it comes to retail, that is just how I feel about the game, but it's clear that talking shit gets people to click and watch more. So what could be happening here? I don't know, man. Maybe Blizzard themselves are a bit involved. They are clearly in contact with all of these players, since somehow they are always the ones invited by Blizzard to hold interviews, to be present at events, and so on. And remember, directly paying someone money is not the only way to make them want to shill for you all the time. But okay, that might be all just mambo jumbo, maybe I'm looking into it a bit too much. It is possible, this is all speculation, and I will never ever claim that this is clearly the truth. But the weird stuff keeps going on. On the classic side of things, the version of the game that currently has fewer players and is also way less monetized, therefore making a lot less money for Blizzard, this seems not to be the case as often. People are negative much more often. For example, in Season of Discovery, people said that Nightmare Incursions sucked demonic balls, for example. People call out Blizzard for being so fucking slow with Classic Plus, because they do not understand what the community wants. You get the idea. People are just more negative, and that is, in my opinion, normal to a certain degree, and to be expected. But lately, posts like this one from Wowhead have appeared all over the place. Reddit is filled with these kinds of posts as well, out of nowhere. They just started appearing out of nowhere around 5 months ago, but from what I see, they really picked up about 3 months ago. And as some people in the comment sections on Reddit also mention, it does feel to me a bit weird how this historically absolutely hated feature is asked about and wished upon by so many people all of a sudden. And every pro token argument in these Reddit posts, on the Blizzard forums, in the Wowhead article, they are all just so stupid. But so very few people call them out in their respective comment sections. If you go on YouTube, for example, people are not positive about it. People making videos about this post are mostly angry and hope this will not happen. And I don't know, maybe it's all just because people are just that stupid and their ideas and their opinions cannot be anything but stupid. But again, I have two problems with that. First of all, I think I am a pretty average guy. And I see all that people say pro WoW token, and I can easily call bullshit on all of it and super easily explain why it is all so wrong. It's not hard at the end of the day. The token is fundamentally bad for the game. It's not hard to understand why. And second of all, and get ready for this because I'm going to slurp a bit on your dicks right now, I see my small community on YouTube and what people say in the comments, and I feel like almost no one could ever be stupid enough to look at these arguments and say, yes, this is correct. Maybe somehow I just surrounded myself with the creme de la creme of World of Warcraft fans, only the highest IQ individuals, all descendants of Einstein. Or maybe the simplest explanation is the real one. Maybe it's just that Blizzard had a hand in all of these posts and articles. But you know what they say.
Listen, old man, talk is talk.
Let's actually discuss the things these pro World of Warcraft token people say all the time and see why I say it's just mindless bullshit. Let's start with the Reddit posts. There are two main arguments I see all over the place. Both of them classic ones. First one is well, the bots already do it, might as well add the WoW token and get rid of the bots. Brilliant, they fucking cracked the code. If the bots are doing illegal stuff, let's resolve the issue and make Blizzard do the same illegal stuff instead. Fuck yeah, mate! Just like real life. You know, drunk drivers kill people on the streets. Just let the government hire people and run people over officially. Finally feeling safe, letting my kids play on the street, knowing that if they end up being killed by a truck, at least my vote had a say in that. Do the kids buy hardcore drugs? Well, might as well sell them the drugs in school, officially, because at least the profits will be used for the good of everyone else in society. Am I right? What the fuck? How are you this fucking stupid? If bots are a problem, maybe the best solution, maybe what you should be asking for on Reddit and on other forums is not another form of RMT being added to the game, but maybe just make Blizzard get rid of the fucking bots. Making a third-party problem be an official Blizzard-made problem is still a problem. And the second argument, the classic, well, as a father of 34 kids, I no longer have time for this shit. Again, solid argument. It's just how it goes, man, you know? The game is originally made with a certain philosophy in mind, and as the audience gets older, it just naturally destroys that said philosophy, so you don't really need to play the game anymore. Think about other examples, popular examples that already happened. Think about Counter-Strike. Back in the day, when we were kids, back in the 1.6 days, you had to learn to play the game. You had to aim better and so on. Nowadays, all you have to do is send Valve an identification document to prove that you're over 35 and you have at least 10 kids, and after that, they will officially let you buy an aimbot, the wall hack, anything you want from them, because you don't have the time to practice anymore. But you are entitled to have fun in Counter-Strike at the same level you did when you were 16, right? It would be insane to just say, well, old man, maybe you should have not had 34 kids if you wanted to play this game genre that revolves around time sinks. That would be insane. The reasonable idea is to just ruin the game and let everyone play. Can't wait for the day when the studio making that, what was it called? That chess game, that PvP 1v1 game where you play on the real life board. Can't wait for the day the studio will finally patch in this kind of change. If you are over 30, you can use AI assistants because who the fuck has time to practice anymore? Am I right? Fucking stupid, man. That is what you are. Assuming these comments are not bots, of course. And then we have the Wowhead article. Oh!
We can all say with some confidence that this line of the game will come to an end, so allowing players to have fun and play however they want makes sense.
What? Just because TBC anniversary will end at some point we might as well shit on the core MMO aspect of the game. Well, shit then. That is how it goes with every expansion, with every version of WoW so far. It starts, it ends, and it never matters again after that. What you did during TBC will not matter in Wrath. What you did in Wrath will not matter in Cataclysm, and so on. It's all a cycle of bits of content that die and are phased out. How is this TBC release any different? And also, if you say just let people have fun and do what they want, why even make them pay for gold? Just give people gold, right? Make the game fully accessible and fun to everyone, right? Or by let players have fun and play however they want, you only mean let them pay Blizzard $20 to play however they want. If they don't pay $20, then fuck them, they do not get to play however they want.
Also, let's address the elephant in the room. We'll never know exactly how many players are buying gold or at what volume, but it's widely acknowledged that it happens, and this could significantly reduce it.
I just realized this post is probably made with AI. The way it is written and its stupidity cannot be explained otherwise. We know players buy gold with real money, so adding an official way to buy gold with real money will reduce that kind of activity. Wow. Out of respect for you and your mental power, I will not explain this one. Let's move on.
As for the economic concern, the WoW token itself is purchased with real money, sold on the auction house, and another player buys it with in-game gold. Thus, there's no new gold being created, rather, it's an exchange. Speaking to the pressure to perform with gear or consumables, the environment you play in certainly impacts this. This version of the game feels more like communities are confined to guilds than to the realm. Of course, some players rely on pugs, so the benchmark for gearing or preparation could be increased in some groups should this be added. Still, a more casual guild won't necessarily have these sorts of pressures, so that potential FOMO wouldn't exist as strongly. If you're in a more serious raiding guild, these are things you're likely going to do anyway, and the WoW token streamlines that more and would enable those players to focus their attention elsewhere, such as running heroics to help guildmates or leveling additional characters to help the guild.
First of all, I have no idea how this person knows that communities are confined more to guilds than to the realms now. To me, it feels like quite the opposite, but I will not say that this is the case because it's just a feeling. I have no proof and neither does this guy. As for the pressure to buy WoW tokens, a casual guild will not pressure you, so it's fine, and while the pressure exists in a serious guild, that is actually fine because you can get that pressure out of the way, and that will enable you to do what everybody that buys WoW tokens does with their extra time, now that they don't have to waste time on gold anymore. Of course, you are going to help guildmates run heroics and level alts. I wonder, is Blizzard gonna keep track of this? Or if you buy a WoW token, you just have to pinky swear that you are gonna level an alt or help guildmates in their heroic dungeons? So the overall impact on the community is positive? Huh? These arguments are so incredibly stupid, it feels like I'm arguing with a mentally challenged kid, and somehow the guy just forgets to mention something, a bit of an oopsie. He just forgets to bring up the absolutely unquestionable pay-to-win aspect of the WoW token. They just forgot about that one, eh? Maybe someone uses that gold to buy themselves better stuff, get spots in raids easier and faster, get better loot, and just be ahead, and then they just log the fuck off the game while the free-to-play player needs to farm gold himself to get a raid spot and so on. Yeah, small mistake there. I don't know, man. This influx of stupid pro WoW token arguments out of nowhere is weird, man. It's weird how they all kinda appeared at the same time. It's weird, and it's weird that the arguments are always the same and they are also always just extremely stupid, and in the case of the Wowhead article also stinks of AI. Just the way it is written. Anyway, again, this is all just me speculating. Just wanted to talk about how I feel about the issue. Don't take it too seriously, even if I am right, there is not much that you can do about it, so who cares? I just wanted to yap about it. Let me know if I'm seeing through the conspiracies of the Illuminati or you think I'm just a stupid ape in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and come visit me on Twitch as well. Link on the screen and in the description of the video. Till next time, peace.